Hello the internet, and welcome to Science Week 2021, where the school's theme is food, different by design. Now in this CNRL Library Innovation Studio workshop, we're going to show you the science and the practical behind growing your own food. We're going to look at seeds, how they grow underground and how they grow above the ground into great big plants that provide you with food. The growth of plants is scientifically fascinating. As far as we can tell, plants are not sentient, but they do have senses they use to react to the changing world around them, and it's essential for their growth. When seeds germinate underground, they put roots down into the soil and send a shoot up towards the surface. It doesn't matter which way up your seed is, they can sense gravity. This is called geotaxis. But what does that mean? Well, currently, we think it is gravity exerting a greater pressure on the bottom of the cell walls or starch grain within the cells settling at the bottom that helps influence the production of plant growth hormones in different directions up and down. Or possibly it is both these things. Excitingly, we don't really know yet. Once the shoot appears above the ground and encounters sunlight, plants not only rapidly grow upwards, they can actually bend towards the sun as it moves across the sky. This is called phototropism. Plants have highly sensitive light-sensing proteins on them to enable them to detect the direction of a light source. But today, you'll also see that plants have a sense of touch called thigmotropism. Climbing beans blindly seek out objects to grow around, but when they encounter an object, they change their growth pattern, hardening around the object at contact and growing in a new direction to further seek out new objects to help it grow upwards and outwards. And again, this is a wonderful area of science we are still researching, discovering and arguing about, with new research arguing French beans are showing signs of intent, published in the journal Scientific Reports earlier in 2021. It's a fierce debate. And now we'll show you how to grow your own scientifically controversial climbing beans that show sense of gravity, show a sense of sunlight, direction, and also show a sense of touch. All you need is some egg boxes, bread bags, dirt and water, and seeds that you can buy from the shops or borrow for free from a seed library. So get your egg box, poke some drainage holes in the bottom of each one. Just a couple on the side. We're going to try not to overwater our seeds, of course. This will make sure they're never in a pool of water that'll make them rot. And now I'm going to trim off the lid, and this makes a perfect little water catching tray. Now if you're using dirt from your garden, you want to go through and make sure you get rid of all the little sticks and stones that you're going to find in there. You need to give our seeds the best possible chance of being able to sprout out of the top of the soil. You're adding little. Now if there are instructions on your packet, follow them. Otherwise, a good rule of thumb is that they're going to go about 3 times as deep as they are big. So here's one little seed here. So 1, 2, 3. It's going to go down that much. Grab yourself a stick, make a little hole, about as deep as you think it needs to be, and drop it in. So just put 2 or 3 seeds in each one, gently covering them up with soil. Time to water. You don't want to flood your seeds, otherwise they will rot. And just start with a few drops. You don't want to knock the soil everywhere. Look how that's just dripping, gently dripping. Because the dirt is so dry, the water might flow in all directions. We don't want to wash the seeds away, we don't want to wash the dirt away. So now I've planted these chives. You need to get a pen and just write somewhere what they are. Chives. Now get your bread bag and slip them in. Now we don't want to seal up the end or anything like that. The idea is just to help to trap some heat in here. And twice a day, when we come to water them, we'll take it completely out to water and we'll leave it there while we're watering all the other ones and then slip it back in again. As we're going to be moving these around a fair bit, it's probably a good idea to put this on something else, especially if you've got lots of trays. Now I'll get on with the rest of my seedlings. Okay, those are my climbing beans, which were donated to Tamworth Library by a 9-year-old. Purple climbing beans donated to the library last year by someone called Jenny. Thanks very much, Jenny. You don't exactly borrow seeds from the library because you're not going to be giving them back, obviously. But the idea is you get free seeds, and some people, they might be able to harvest seeds off of their plants and donate those back to the library. But you don't have to do that. So now I've got all my seeds on the tray. I've got chives, carrots, beans, beetroot. Ooh, what else we got? We've got strawberries, we've got marigolds, we've got sunflowers. Now I'm going to take this tray and I'm going to put it inside in a warm place where I'm going to see it every day to remind me that I need to spray these, take them out of their bags twice a day until the sprouts start showing above the ground. Okay, it's been less than a week, just slightly less than a week since I started doing this, and this morning when I went to water my seedlings and take the plastic off as usual, I have sprouts already in less than a week. These are the marigolds, and in this one we have the sunflowers have started to sprout as well. So these now need to go on the windowsill in the daytime to get lots of sunlight. And every day I'll be turning it around just the once, so that every day they have a new direction to grow in. We don't want the sprouts growing all in one direction. We want them to have nice, strong, straight stems. I also won't be putting the plastic on in the daytime anymore, not on these ones anyway, because I don't want to cook them. These are quite delicate. At night time I'll put these back on to trap the warmth in, but in the daytime that's no longer a good idea, not for the ones that have shot up above the ground. It's very exciting, isn't it? My beans are much further along. They've grown really quickly. I can't even put the bread bags on them properly anymore without sticking them upright. Look at these. Fantastic. Okay, how exciting. We're going to plant our first plants right now. So, dig a hole next to your bean pole. We're going to go a bit deeper because I want to loosen this dirt up. This is where our roots are going to be growing, and I want to make sure the soil is nice and loose for it. I'm not going to be putting the plants in this deep. We're thinking about its future and how far and wide its roots are going to want to grow when it's still a young plant. And pour water into the hole. Let it soak in a little. We want the soil to be nice and loose so the roots of our bean plant can spread out under the ground. So we're putting a lot of it back in because our seedling is not very big yet. We don't want to bury it under the ground too far. We need its roots underground and maybe this much of its stem. The first plant, I'm just going to wet it a little bit to loosen everything up. We watered it this morning, but we're watering it again now. I'm just going to carefully use my spoon to scoop out the earth. Be very, very gentle here. There's very delicate roots in the ground. We don't want to hurt them because that's how the plant gets all of its food and nutrients. There we go. I've loosened it. It's like it wants to come out now. We don't want to be doing any kind of cutting. It'll be super, super gentle. There we go. Look at all those roots. That's what's been growing all this time while we've been looking after our seed. So this bit is going to be underground. We're also going to put it maybe that deep in the ground as well. We don't want it just falling over at the stem. Carefully pop it into the ground, make a little hole for it, and gently put the earth in. Your hand's going to get a bit dirty at this point, that's okay. Some of the loose topsoil on, make sure it's even all around. You don't want to pile it up on one side. Now, as our bean grows over the days and weeks, it might not find the stick straight away. When it gets little tendrils, we may have to give it a bit of a hand just finding them. Maybe just gently wrapping it around. Don't want to pull hard or anything like that. We don't want to break anything, but we may need to give it a little bit of encouragement just so it can find the bean pole. And when it does, it'll spread up here in no time. I put some more topsoil over the wet, give it another good drink. Our first veggie patch plant is in. How exciting. Okay, let's do some more. One at every pole. Now it's been a while since we had a good look at our bean plant, but my goodness, they have put out a lot of feelers and have grown a long way up our bean pole. And as we move up, you'll see more and more beans are hanging everywhere. Fantastic. Now the rule with beans is once they've started growing, start picking them and eating them. There's no point leaving them on there. The more you pick, the more they'll grow new ones. Get a pair of scissors and just snip them above where these little leaves are. Do leave them too long, they can get rather big and bulbous, and they may be a bit stringy and not so nice to eat. So try and get them while they're small and fresh. A bit more like this one over here, and less bulbous. Right, I'm going to pick all my beans and have them in a salad, or maybe steam them to have as a side with my dinner tonight, and pretty soon we'll have new beans growing on our plant. There's easily enough here for a meal today of green and purple beans. We hope you enjoyed this Science Week workshop. We have more workshops, so have a look at our playlist. The link is in the description below. And for more CNRL Library Innovation Studio home workshops, please like, share and subscribe this video so you and your friends can check it out in the future. And you'll be able to find our videos on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all the usual places at Innovation Stew, #InnovationStew, and on our website, innovationstew.com.au. See you next time, and have a great Science Week!